Wait, boom. Is it recording? Okay, that looks good.
Yeah. So what did your dad say to you?
I said I'm on Snapchat.
What? Like your dad and my dad walked in, or your dad walked in.
He said.
I was like,
Oh my
I was like, my dad did, and I was like, what? He was like,
You start the letter.
I was like, you left it to the test. It could be douche. Like, let me tell you, like, my dad was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, yeah, he's like, I told him, last night I thought, he's like, he's like, hi, P. My dad's always giving me that talk, like, oh, you need to do better, like, oh, you're supposed to be better. Literally, I hate that so much. Why? Where were you? Eric, from now on, I'm only catching you. Okay. Okay, no, come here. Hey, freaking Jordan trying to get me to everything to me. Let me tell you, I'm not the one for her. I can't catch her. Like, why is she catching me?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Okay, because that's why I'm starting her. And then when I caught you, we were literally the
So, do me two favors. First, put your phones away. Second, stop talking. Thank you. Okay, so you guys have all met Chris and Pavel. Pavel is implementing, part of what they have to do is to give a lesson that's a part of their hours of being in the classroom. So today, Pavel is delivering a lesson that emphasizes content literacy, but it's directly related to what we've been talking about as evidence for evolution, right? So I'll let him take it over, but what I need from you today is to be focused, be respectful, and keep your phones put away. The third part I can take care of, the other two I can also take care of. Yes. What? Keep your phones put away? Oh, no. No, for today we're good. Next week we'll have to. Okay, any questions?
Are we going to have time to study for our assessment?
We're not having the assessment today, it'll be on Tuesday. So the plan is Pavel will deliver his lesson. If we have 20 to 30 minutes left at the end of class, that will be time for you to study. Okay?
Good afternoon. Yeah. I really like the excitement, as I said already. I hope it's not for the Friday, but excitement for the class today, right? But anyway, as Mr. Tomorrow mentioned already, I will try to introduce a few reading strategies. How you can implement them when you read scientific papers or anything related to the subjects you are learning, you are studying. How can you improve your comprehension and understanding of that context, of that text? So, yeah, content literacy is all about that. It defines as the ability to read and write and improve your comprehension of the text through reading and writing. But today we will focus only on the reading. That's why we gave you all those handouts. So we will do a pre-reading activity before we read the article. That's one of the strategies how to improve your just thinking and how to improve your understanding of the text. So that pre-reading activity will be list, group, and labels. And an example of these, and the topic we'll be covering is the evidence for evolution. So we will try to do something like that. We will put the main word, the main word of our subject, which is evolution, and we'll try to go around and come up and brainstorm any words that associated with evolution. Okay, so that's the example. For example, over here, World War II, we have significant dates over here, and you can put like 1938, 1945, and I don't know, just something for people, and you can make it go further, spread it out into Roosevelt, I believe, that's the USA president during the World War II, Stalin, Hitler, and something like that. Allied powers, Germany, Austria, who else was there? Well, Britain was a lot, another one. Yeah, Britain, USA, USSR, French, another allied power. What was the causes? Was it economy or was it just hunger for the power? Doesn't matter. So we will try to do the same on the board right now. So I'll try to put everybody on the same page, and it will also give me a sign of your prior knowledge, what you know about evolution. So let's make the big one. It's going to be our main subject. And we'll branch out from here, and you will give me just ideas. What other words do you have associated with evolution? You just can scream out, speak out. DNA, perfect. Let's put it more into general one, genetics. Genetics. Then you can branch out and you can put DNA. What else do you?
Fossils.
Fossils, perfect. Let's put over here evidence. Big one, and you can branch out from evidence and you can put fossils. What are the evidence for evolution do we know? Fossils, what are the ones? Anatomy, do you think anatomy would be as a to serve as evidence? Okay.
Embryology.
Perfect.
Don't hear that?
Embryo. What else? What about something else like speciation, selection? What types of evolution do we know? Do we know different types of evolution?
Person
No?
with the gills.
Something with the gills?
From
That
the video we watched yesterday.
okay, what was it about?
Oh, last time. It was like this girl had a gill by her ears.
Okay, so
It was really
actually that's the evidence that during the embryological development, everybody has gills. We have gills too. But during the development of embryo, those gills, they modify into Eustachian tubes in our ears. So that's the evidence too. You can put that actually gills branch out from the embryo. What else do we know? You can throw anything weird, anything crazy. What do you have associated with evolution?
Humans.
Humans. Okay, good job.
Ancestry.
What?
Ancestry.
Ancestor. Let's call it Kukai. Last unified common ancestor. What else?
The phylogenetics.
Perfect. Okay, what else? Anybody? Anybody else? Okay, from phylogenetic tree, we can go and put speciation, for example. That's when from one common ancestor, we not create, but there is two different species developed from a common ancestor. And that's why we get all those phylogenetic trees coming from the same ancestor. Yes? What? Pigments? Can you elaborate on that one a little bit? Okay, we can call it molecular biology, I would say. Evolution, or it can go to evidence. Molecular biology. And from the molecular biology, we can also branch out and mention that we have pigments or specific proteins that we compare, and through those comparisons, we estimate how close or how distant the species are. For example, cytochrome C is one of the proteins used in the electron transport chain in all aerobic organisms. And for example, for the human and chimpanzee, the genetic code for that cytochrome C would be almost identical. But for the human and, let's say, a pig, it will be 60% match. So you know that would be a good evidence again. So that's a great start for the class. I really like it. That was one of the strategies of pre-reading. So before you do some kind of reading, you just can see the title, Evidence for Evolution, and what it might be. You can brainstorm and kind of predict what the text is going to be about. It will be much easier for you to read, because when you run into some things which you just brainstormed, you will know that you were good about that, you were good at guessing and at the prediction. So the next one is going to be, oops. Yeah, I will erase this one. So the next strategy is during the reading strategy, and it's called DRTA, Directed Reading, Thinking Activity. So we just brainstorm what our article might be about, right? What we are going to read about. What do you think? Your predictions is going to be the same as we just brainstormed, right? So now our goal is to read and sacrifice some time for reading. I know it's a very exciting activity, and you couldn't wait to do that. And then after reading, we will discuss. But also, I know that everybody has a different pace of reading, and somebody is a slow reader, somebody is a fast reader, and that's completely all right. We're fine. Everybody is unique, everyone is different. So for those who finish earlier than the others, so you do not distract those people who are still trying to read, you will do something out of the post-reading strategy, which is eye charts. You will your goal is to impose your own question and research it. And I gave you an example what kind of questions you might face when you're reading this article. For example, when we are talking about fossils, they use radiometric dating and paleomagnetic dating. It doesn't tell you much details about that, so you might ask yourselves questions like, so how does it go? What are the procedures? How is it actually used in the real life? So that's what I'm going to ask you to do if you complete your reading of your handouts. So you will do that on the computer, most likely. Okay? So now I will just, the time is, it's 12:45, let's say, and I'll give you a half hour to read this text, to read this article, and after that, we will discuss and we will talk about that, okay? Let's go.
Wait, read all of this?
No.
So, this page, it's not that, I mean, there is lots of pictures and there is lots of,
You got 20 minutes. Go.
He said 30. I thought he said 30.
Yeah, he said 30. Yeah.
Okay.
Don't think great minds
Get started.
Yeah, he's a teacher now.
Just get started. Yeah, that's all right.
Hey, your parents?
Okay, let's go. It's suggested by an amazing He got his times mixed up. What about you? Wait, so I can look at 5? You only have to be in school for half a day.
Who?
To practice, or to be in the game.
Well, why would we read?
Yeah.
And why would we read something? Okay, you guys, too much talking. Reading is a silent activity. You're reading. Yeah.
When will that infographic be?
Did you turn it in on time?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Because I updated all the
It
grades.
was in 2 weeks and now I showed you 5.
Technically, we had a due date, right? That was on Friday. So if you turned it in late, it's gonna take a while to get it done.
But it'll still be right.
No, I'll still grade it. Just-
Magnetic footage. That was pretty tight and really because it was like, when you see an eye in any of that, like,
Hey, Jake. Change my phone. I don't like this one.
But I'd like to read that.
Yes.
I think she is.
We're talking about
Don't be messing with us.
Sit in your chair.
I'll be back.
They're supposed to be short too. I like them. She said she likes them, but it's too cold.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
What is that? Yeah, no, exactly. Actually got another
When Ellie comes back.
Y'all take it back here.
Hey, look, my pencil's magnetic. That's
Are you done reading? Yeah. Can you answer all the questions you said about to put on the board?
Questions?
Yeah.
Questions?
Pavel forgot to mention one key thing at the end of class. There is a graded check for understanding based on your reading. So,
I'm not even a good reader. I got dyslexia.
You need me to relay a message? You want me to relay a message?
This is too long for me. I'm gonna get a headache because I'm gonna have dyslexia.
But you want me to relay something else?
Enjoy.
Relay something else?
I'll get that.
I'm on the second.
What are you? It's like you're gonna cook. What you do is you do this, you time yourself on how fast you breathe because the time.
Alright guys, I guess there's two questions. So you wanna take turns?
Why didn't we just read it as a class? That'd been so much easier. We should read it as a class, so it'd be a lot easier.
Read out.
Yeah, like read it out loud as a class.
Popcorn read.
If you expect me to read all of this,
Do you read out loud at home?
Not been reading.
Often?
Yeah, that's how I comprehend it.
You can do it. You know what takes me? Takes me half an hour, a paragraph, every paragraph, just do a little summary.
you better go on. Put it down. What you say?
Why are you talking like that? Is it better, guys?
How many questions are there?
On the, paperwork. Evolution by nature.
Alright guys.
I can't talk this thing.
Is there an audible on this?
I can't read it.
Is there
You can't read
Is there an audible on this?
Yeah, in your head as you're reading.
No.
Either voice.
Yeah, is there an article?
Alright, we'll take turns.
Even if I do read it, I'm not gonna be able to answer the question. I'm not gonna comprehend it.
It's like, roll up though. 5, 4, 6, 1.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
I'll take what? Go to gym. Hey, if anybody has trouble reading in their head, I'm just gonna go read it out there, and we'll like take turns with
Thank you.
popcorn reading. Not everybody. Not everybody. I'm already.
This was mine. We started going over there with his friend.
No emergency out there.
Can't read that.
That's a lie. How can I know how to read? Exactly. Come on.
Who's gonna read with them?
They know what I mean, though. That's cheese. That's the thing.
So I just say, now you want to do it?
Just be quiet.
No, one person beats No, he's lying. He's just, yeah.
Jake.
Okay, so the assumption is you can all read at a 9th grade level, right? If you don't feel, stop talking. If you don't feel like you're at that level, then you can go in there and he'll help you.
Oh, I thought you were gonna explain stuff.
No, they're just gonna read through together.
Well, they already can.
That's what I do.
Okay, guys. Just one more note. If you are feeling struggling with the text, that's okay. Let's do it a little bit different way. If you want to, you can read each paragraph and write a short summary of that paragraph. So you understand the gist of that topic overall, okay? So paragraph by paragraph, write down a summary of each paragraph in 15 words or less. Don't make it a huge extension. Okay? Go ahead.
So who do you guys have for English? What, if you're a freshman, most of you are freshmen, sophomores, what kind of reading strategies do you learn in English?
It's not really a strategy. It's too many pages.
Do you read in that class at all?
Do you read books?
But the books are like entertaining to like they get you hooked in.
This is entertaining. This is dropping some knowledge on you. And it has pictures.
I still need help.
Oh yeah.
Less talking, you guys. Okay, for the next 20 minutes, if you talk, I'm going to ask you to go out in the hallway and sit by yourself or read by yourself. Okay? So I don't care what you're doing, but you're not talking.
Can I go do that?
No, you're fine. You need help reading?
I was gonna restart it. Right. Oh, you already? When you started? Yes.
So, what do you
Oh, I see how it is.
No, we're going to do.
Another bird in the page?
We have to at least read it.
Mine says in the mid-90s. Mine says different stuff in there.
That's why I offered you.
It's supposed to be cold,
But
but
mine says different stuff in there.
where we're gonna be in the boxes we made.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the mid-90s century.
I can barely hear. I even know what you're saying.
Ours says different things.
I like some scripture specials.
I put like,
I knew it. We're going to ask you different questions.
wait, for real? Oh, I can't read this in your page. What is yours from? No, it's because, see, you have that part. I don't. No, it's the same. It's just in the mid-90s.
Something about Devin was third.
That's a joke. That's not real. Okay.
Somewhere between one and
Holocaust.
Can we write on this?
Oh, it's over.
No, that's not. I can take that.
Oh, no, I was talking about this. Like, that mission, can I check the pregnancy? Because I did mission.
Yeah, you can take, I got the thing.
This is one of this one.
No, I'm talking about the
So it's head
That's illegal.
That's dumb.
That's illegal.
If you offer,
Pigeons look dumb, they're smart. But they also have a large head.
Did you just make sense? That's the first time.
Deeds.
What are they doing to the polar bears?
They're murdering.
No, they're not there yet.
They, I mean, you.
Oh, yeah, already
Because I punched in everybody, and it's like, maybe I tried to. I think it's legit cool, actually. Hey.
Hi Debbie, this is Mr. Mark. Do you guys happen to have any Okay, thank you. I have one.
guys are so quiet. I'm thinking we should do this like every day.
No.
If you ever do this, I'll skip your class.
You guys are doing good. Doing much better.
Will.
They're almost done. I can see some of you.
Groundhogs.
I do know.
You don't know what groundhog
I was talking about something else. He said groundhog. So I was talking about.
There's just many more bags.
Turkey, while chicken holds the texture to it. Turkey's the dry stuff. Once in a while. Just the best thing that you can
Hold on.
I wasn't accepted because you have to sign up like the year before.
Next year.
Well, I'm actually just gonna go to DMAC because I wanted to do nursing. So I'm gonna take my nursing like this summer at DMAC and then already start nursing so I can have my like 20 hours before my
That looks like a person.
So he's taking his first.
You can, there's actually, if you go to their research, you can, they can show you the real see where our students live there. Like they show the whole the most Indian. Can you search it up? Sure.
I thought it was. Yeah. I see a huge owl. I wonder what dodo tastes like. You don't know what a dodo is? Dodo.
Like for Minecraft?
Dodo.
Dodo's a bird from Minecraft.
This thing right there is okay, let's go jump.
5 minutes.
I think it's the fox here.
Okay, you guys have 5 minutes. Try to get through as much. If you don't get through all of it, that's okay, but get through as much as you can.
I swear it's the one. I think it's
You've already read the whole package?
the fox bag.
Whoever said that.
This is Japanese. That's a wine. No, not that. There's just really a lot actual fish. I've never seen this in Fox Bay. That's the most extreme. I know. Yeah, the water
Crawfish are good. They're just salty. It tastes like sand.
That's all.
I'm tied up with a turkey right on the side.
Yeah, that's what it should be. That's fine.
Animals. Yeah, bro. Okay, buddy. Just probably paint his face in the blood.
No, I just said it's like a volleyball. Is it the same size as a volleyball? It's just-
The only thing Why would you ask it? He's scared of her. Just look at it.
Is he younger or older?
Okay, you guys finish up and please put your paper clip and put the article back in order. Put the paper clip on it.
The fish is the only thing I have. Yeah, just really take all the guts out.
You keep it for now.
Yes, right.
It's pretty dry when it's
You don't see it. I got a new best friend. You get to walk it. They're out. You're in my seat, please, That's how you started laughing. Where you go to the bathroom? I went to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for Ellie to come back. It's been a whole half hour.
We're at the same time, we're not going to the same place. Wow, you guys just left.
Which is attached.
Can I go to the bathroom for like 45 minutes? And this school is the only thing.
We're not going to the same bathroom.
No, you can't go to the same time. She'll go quickly because you have to go downstairs. That's what I think. Unless, no, they unlocked one of them. Okay, so let's go back to our assigned seats and give our attention back to Pavel so we can continue on with this lesson.
Okay, guys, the most exciting 30 minutes of your lifetime has passed, right?
3 minutes?
Yes.
No way, that's 3 minutes.
This seemed like 5.
40
That was an
minutes.
hour.
So, now we did brainstorming, we predicted, we read, hopefully, at least a half of it. And now we are going to discuss what we read about. So, comparing to what we were talking about in the beginning when we were doing that bubble chart, what can you add more to the evidence for evolution? Natural selection, perfect. What does it mean? Can you give an example of it?
So say there was like food that grew on a tree that was really tall, and only tall people could grab, then all the short people would die off, and then everyone would become tall.
Okay, good job. There was an example of a giraffe, I believe, right? That's Darwin's theory that in the beginning, long time ago, there were different variations, phenotypic variations of the giraffes. There were giraffes with a short neck, with a middle neck, with a tall neck. But once all food was scarce, they were eating leaves from the trees. Once they ate all the leaves from the bottom of the trees, only giraffes with the tall necks were able to reach to the top. Therefore, only giraffes with the long necks survived. And that's how it was a change from the 3 types of variation to 1 type of variation. And it's actually called a directional selection. Well, first of all, I'll give you an example of natural selection. Another one, that's a cool example of natural selection. And it's a very common one. It's usually described in every book. There's a pepper moth that used to live about 18th, 19th century in England. And at the same time, industrialized revolution happened in England. So all coal was burning, all trees became black, soot was coming out from the factories. So there were only a few types of moth that were black. I mean, fewer in terms of general population, there were fewer black moths. There were lots of white ones. But once the revolution happened, all trees were black, so it was easier for predators to hunt, to predate on the white moth. So white moth became extinct, and not extinct, very few white moth left to exist. And the black moth population raised significantly after that revolution. Another example is this one is a pretty cool example. We were talking about malaria disease, which is apparently in South Africa, I'm sorry. So there was an insecticide developed to prevent the malaria disease, which was targeted to mosquitoes that are the source of transmission of that malaria disease between the humans. So we had only a few mosquitoes with the DDT resistant alleles existed in that time. Once the DDT was introduced to the population, everyone without that DDT resistant allele died out, but those who had the resistance for that chemical, they survived. After a few months, days, years, mosquitoes left only those who have resistance to DDT chemical, insecticide. That's the example of natural selection as well. What else? What types of selection actually do we know? So it was a directional selection. This one. Which one? Natural selection. Perfect. That just. What another one? What about the diversifying selection? And stabilizing one. Directional selection we discovered. That's when one phenotype changes to another phenotype. Stabilizing selection, an example of a human baby, a newborn baby, for example. Long time ago, there was again quite a big range of babies born. Right now it's between 6 and 8 pounds usually. So the mean is very the mean is very sharp. The red one, by the way, represents the whole population. The blue one is the new population. So before there was a great variety of babies with a different height and with a different weight, born. Those outliers, they usually died out. So through the evolution, through the selection, only babies with average mean between 6 and 8 pounds left alive. So that's why we have babies right now usually in 6 to 8 pounds range. Okay? Disruptive selection represents, for example, you have a population of, I remember I read something about the mice or rabbits, white rabbits, gray rabbits, and black rabbits, for example. You have the mean population, all of them pretty much the same. Let's say 35, 35, 30, 30, 30, 33, 33, 33% of each variety of rabbits. But something happened and only 2 phenotypes survive and 1 dies out. So the difference between phenotypes is more evident. That's the example of disruptive selection. Okay, what else did we learn from the article? Well, what kind of evidence for evolution can we talk about? What about types of evolution? Divergent, convergent, thoroughly, right?
So divergent, they came from like a common place or a common point, and convergent, they came from different places. But so like, okay, my example is like bats and insects, yeah, and they both are like referring to wings, like to fly, but they came from different places pretty much.
Yes, and they have different structures of the wings as well. So that's a perfect example of conversion. And what was the example of diversion?
Flowering plants.
Okay, so flowering plants, when one plant can be pollinated one way, another one pollinated a different way. So there is 2 different pollination kinds in plants. One plants that can be self-pollinated, other plants that they have to have both male and female plants, and they pollinate each other. That's the example of divergence. We just talked about the structures, I believe. Yes, homologous structures. Did everybody cover that in the article? No? Didn't get there yet? Okay, that's another example of evolution, evidence for the evolution. And there is a picture actually. It's a very similar to that. They give you an example of the limbs, human, dog, bird, and whale. And they give you also the color-coded bones, which is radial, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges, I believe. So if you can see here on the picture, even the turtle one has a pretty similar limb to the horse and to the human. So it's all color-coded right now. Yeah, you can see humerus is a purple one. This one will be the radius, yellow one, green one, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. And it's pretty interesting, the evidence for evolution in terms of the horse development. As, first, I don't know if you can see, hopefully you can see, over here you have a 3-toe feet. That's the common ancestor of all horses, and horses actually the most studied fossils on the planet, on our planet. So they're very well studied, and you can see there was a 3-toe feet first, but now it got switched to this, yes. So step by step it got changed, and it was caused by the environmental stresses, environmental requirements. Horses didn't need any more free 3 toes. Well, then 2 somewhere in the middle in that last. What else? What else did we learn from nautical guys? Any examples? Any more?
Don't see everything.
Okay, what about molecular biology again? Can we say something about that? What kind of evidence do we have in terms of DNA or proteins that coded in both organisms but very distant from each other or very similar to each other? What about insulin? Was there any mention about insulin coding in humans, mice? Okay, anyway, that's what I mentioned at the beginning of the class. The same as for cytochrome C, which is a protein in the aerobic organisms. Human and chimpanzees are very related because they have the code, the gene that codes for the same cytochrome C, which is 98% similar, but like human and pig, it's only 68% similar. So the same about insulin. In humans and chimpanzees, it's very similar. It's about like 99% similar. But if you go further away in terms of phylogenetic tree, if you go away from humans, the difference would be more, bigger. So fossils, another example of evidence for evolution. That's when we can find different types of organisms and date them and estimate pretty accurately, actually, estimate where they live and what happened when they died. And direct observation, that's what we just covered in terms of mosquito population. For the same, remember, we covered in this class the MRSA bacteria, resistant methicillin resistant bacteria, remember that one? Okay, that's another example of the direct observation of the evolution and natural selection. So right now, let's do practice questions. At the end of your handouts, there is a few questions, like 4 multiple choice questions and 4 short answer questions. And also we will do exit sleeps. And
No.
oh, I'm tired. One sec. Okay, so we answer the questions and I will give you the exit sleep questions just a little bit later, okay? I need to update my PowerPoint.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Whoa.
So you're answering those really good questions.
He went to his
Pavel, can they write on these?
Yes. You can write on them and write down your name so I know who I'm grading.
Period.
Remind me. I didn't hear about it, but it was highly. Yeah.
Wait, so do we answer these?
Yes.
That's
Well, but these are not the questions. The questions are all Over there, yes. Well, and on the back too. Yes.
Up for number one.
This one's great.
Silly ain't boy.
No, this one.
Oh, I really am now. Mason, you should do one of those videos. You know what I'm talking about?
Excuse me?
Remember?
I have a camera.
They call all those years.
Oh my.
And guys, I will give you exit sleeps, and these 2 questions I would like you to answer on the exit sleeps, okay?
What? Hold on, let me read it. It is A. It's A. I bet songs because you can see the movie. I learned some stuff today. You proud? Okay, Kayla, you can cover it. What did you do? You can stop being sassy. There's A on this. That's what I thought.
That's more than an extra school. That's okay.
That wasn't me.
It's not?
You guys have extra tickets? I mean,
Did you get the Mason, come here.
hey, what's, yeah.
Okay, guys, let's go over the questions.
Okay, listen up. Just gonna go over the review questions really quick.
Which scientific concept did Charles Darwin and Alfred Wallace independently discover? Natural selection. Good job. Which of the following situations will lead to natural selection? D. All of the above.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
What? No, all above. We are reviewing the questions right now that you were supposed to answer.
Not all the time.
Which, the third question, which description? Third question, which description is an example of a phenotype?
Hey.
Perfect. Fifth question, which situation is most likely an example of convergent evolution?
D, yes.
I would say D too.
I erased it.
Why not A?
Number one.
I only read that from the reading. I didn't
Number one would be B, right?
Oh.
Why what?
Number one would be B, right?
Yeah, we said B. Number one. Free response questions. Do you want to have some time on it, or we'll go through? Oh yeah, let's just go through. When a person scatters a handful of garden pea plant seeds in one area, how would natural selection work in this situation?
The one that grows best.
Well, yeah, and it depends on the nutrients, food, and how scarceful or plentiful it is in that area, correct? So basically, what's the definition of the most fittest in terms of Darwin's definition of the most fittest? Anybody?
Wasn't it the tree?
Not the fittest. We are talking about the fittest right now. But according to the Darwin,
The one that survives the best.
almost. But what imply? What else? A little bit more on that.
The one who's already kind of adapted to it.
In terms of, according to Darwin, the fittest person, the fittest population, the fittest organism is that one who can reproduce at the higher rate than anybody else and survive. Okay? Reproduction and survival. Huh? You can if you want to. Second question, why do scientists consider vestigial structures evidence for evolution? Like coccyx in humans, tonsils, appendix. Why do we consider these as the evidence for evolution?
Because different species have animals have similar forms and
Exactly, yes. Previous, can you turn it down a little bit? Common ancestors, common ancestors, they had the same structure, but with the time, those structures lost their functions. Like in the humans, we don't have tails anymore because we don't need for it.
We used to have tails.
Well, coccyx is the tail. How does the scientific meaning of the theory differs from the common vernacular meaning? How is that different, guys? How is the scientific meaning of theory different from the regular, usual definition of this theory? For example, I have a theory that I'm throwing this pen and it will keep flying up forever. That's my theory right now. So what would be the difference between scientific and just regular theory? Hey guys, I'm sorry, your classmate is speaking right now.
Hey. Our book, scientific, or scientific theory, whatever, is where they research stuff about the theory, so they can have stuff like proof to back it up.
Yes, it needs a proof and it needs to be tested long time, many times, from different angles, from different perspectives. You are correct. Explain why the statement that a monkey is more evolved than a mouse is incorrect. Why is it incorrect? They're different species, but also they're adapted to the different environment. Okay, and what is your time? When is your class? 5 minutes? Okay, so we have 5 minutes, guys. Please answer these 2 questions. What questions we're left with at the end of the class? And list 3 to 5 important things what you learned from this article. What you learned today. 3 to 5 things you learned today, and what questions we're left off at the end of the class. I gave you sleep papers. Short answer question. Explain my statement. Correct statement.
What's his name?
Like your neighbor said,
Jackson's a little thick.
It's not his name.
Bro, you have it.
Okay, I have it.
Well, because we have that.
Why do we have this? Why do we have my family were white?
What?
I can say anonymous. Change your name. Alright.
What the hell is wrong with
It's
you? You ever just like
Yes, what else is there?
Still?
You can keep $10, guys, if you want to. It's okay with me. You were now.
Back in that little
Oh my God, you never seen a big.
Look at a short kid.
I have one It's a hatch broken, so I can't really. I'm gonna show it.
At one point, the F was like,
Your hat's broken?
exactly. That's why we
Wow,
have
actually.
Right down the big paper. Give me the AirPod.
You're so stupid.
I mean, you guys did start off as drunk. But when you was like in the little, like when you grow.
Hey, Jake. How's life? It's almost
We're all trying to do
I found the camera.
We had no chance.
T-Ray, you up at some old days. The days you started to die.
You can keep it in the John.
Unless you're gonna read it this weekend.
You don't need to. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you tell me what your grade
Good
is?
answers to the questions. In real life, I'm not.
What? You think it's an A or you think you deserve an A?
It's time to be over.
I got a long day ahead of me. Well, I mean, it's gonna be fun. I gotta break down my grandma's basement.
I gotta do 6 and I'll get home about 9.
Hey, do they change my name in different cases?
I don't know.
I don't know when it's supposed to be. I'm getting ready.
So,
It's gonna
Yeah.
be my name and then my birthday is going to be my
What?
birthday.
No, dude, it was literally my dad's fault. I promise.
yes.
It worked.